So now let's have a look at question 3. Question 3 says, in this question you'll be assessed on using good English, organising information clearly, and using specialist terms where appropriate. The diagram shows part of the carbon cycle. Describe how living things are involved in the constant cycling of carbon. So as you may have guessed, this is your 6 marks communications question. So the key things that you need to remember for these questions is that the way to get the most marks is to use the specialist term, so you need to be using your keywords. You can list every information, and if you don't put the keywords, then you're not going to get the high marks. So the question is asking you to describe how the living things are involved in the carbon cycle. So let's look at the things that you need to be putting down. So the first thing you need to be putting down is how carbon dioxide in the atmosphere gets to the green plants. And it's handy here because they show you exactly what's happening. So carbon dioxide in the atmosphere goes into the green plants. So plants absorb CO2. The CO2 is then turned into carbohydrates or proteins or fats in the plant. Plant is then eaten by an animal, which is this step. So we've included this step and this step. Or the plants can give out CO2. This step is when animals respire and give out CO2. This step is when animals die and are decomposed by the microorganisms, and then this step is when CO2 is released by the decomposers. So this is all the steps in the living cycle for the carbon cycle. But putting this is not enough. You need to be putting down the key information, keywords. So these keywords would be, for example, photosynthesis. In this step, when a plant absorbs CO2, that's photosynthesis. The plants releasing CO2 is respiring. Respiring is another key word, saying that respiration releases CO2 would get you another mark. I think calling the microorganisms decomposers would get you the last mark, and that would get you 6 marks easily. It would get you more than the 6 marks if it was a more mark question, because you've got everything down. So always a good plan in these questions is look at what the information is giving you. I mean, this question has given you the answer in a diagram. All you needed to do was follow the arrows and then write down all the keywords that go along with it, and then put the keywords into the question in a place that makes sense, and you'll get 4 marks for the question. So it seems like it's hard, but when you break it down, it's actually quite easy.